Hello, good morning everyone, and we welcome you to this online interaction with Millionlights. Hi, my name is Raj, and meet my friend Mr. Vivek.
Good morning, everyone.
So, we are happy to have you today with us. The last time we had met, we spoke about interview skills and how a person needs to prepare for interview skills. How can a person excel at interviews? So that's what we had spoken about. And today, what we would be doing is a continuation of the same thing. What do you think?
Same thing. You are going to ask questions, and we all are going to discuss certain things which are important.
Absolutely. So I would just like to tell you that we'll quickly have a recap of what are the things that we did. There were wonderful questions asked by a lot of people. So we'll also address those, and we'll also understand what are the other things that we had discussed in the previous session, and then we'll carry forward with today's session.
Yes. So last time we saw what are the questions normally asked during the interview.
Absolutely.
So there are questions based on certain things. First question normally is tell us something about yourself.
True.
So we need to concentrate we are going to tell something about ourselves only.
Exactly.
So whatever information we are going to share, that must be about you, means the one who faces an interview.
Absolutely.
And we must answer it, or we must tell it within 3 to 5 minutes. We shouldn't enlarge the things or extend the things. We should not be very elaborate in terms of telling certain things. It must be crisp or short and sweet.
True.
And we must sound confident.
True.
Because this question is just an icebreaker. This is what is more important. People, they fumble when they come across this question and they start their conversation, myself is. So instead of using myself, we must tell it, I am so and so.
True. Yes. Yes. And like you rightly said, the last time when we had met, we spoke about this aspect. A lot of our viewers had this question mainly to understand when an interview starts. So there's a normal question that is asked. Tell us something about yourself. So what exactly should a person be talking at that point of time? This was a question that people had in their mind.
Correct.
And here, just to add a little bit to whatever you had said, we spoke about all the information that is about the person that he shares, and while sharing it, the person needs to keep in mind that he or she needs to streamline everything. So let it all be arranged well, let it all be extremely streamlined, so proper, so that when you communicate, when you express that, it becomes easy for people to understand what exactly are you talking about and how are you going to go ahead.
Correct.
Clear?
Correct.
That was one. Then later on, there was a lot to do with the attitude aspect.
True.
That we also addressed.
Absolutely.
Isn't it?
Yes.
So would you like to shed some light on that?
Attitude must be positive.
Yeah.
Because that plays very important, or you may say vital role.
True.
Why? Because the person who interviews you, he judges your attitude first.
100%.
And if he comes to know that the person is extremely positive, it adds something to your personality also. Your voice also changes, because there is extremely importance, the way you use your voice, that matters a lot. Another thing, Raj, I would like to tell that positive attitude, it always pays.
Yes.
And it makes you confident.
Yes.
Yes.
Like we had discussed in the last interaction, that when we talk about the positive attitude that a person needs to carry while approaching an interview, the most important aspect is the person needs to build his own self-esteem. How does the person do this? The person needs to have good dialogues going on in the mind. The person needs to feel great about himself or herself. And this comes with the kind of actions that the person takes towards preparing for the interview.
Correct.
Isn't it?
Absolutely.
We had spoken about this. So let it be the technical aspects, let it be the non-technical things, maybe language-based things and other things.
True.
Now, the way a person approaches that, so if a person has a lot of technical knowledge and the person brushes it up, is updated, then the next part is talking about the non-technical things, that is, how will the person express himself or herself when questions are posed, when questions are asked. Now, this again becomes a vital aspect in building self-confidence, self-esteem, and of course, building the positive attitude.
True.
So that's an important part we had discussed.
True.
Then later, we also had a lot of audience members who had asked us, how is a person supposed to present himself or herself in terms of body language, the way a person needs to sit. Although we had spoken a little bit about these things, we'll be discussing a lot more, but just to give you a recap of what all we had done. So would you like to share this?
Yes. So one must be professional, one must sound professional.
Yes.
Attire must be very normal, I must say. It shouldn't be very gaudy colors and all.
Absolutely.
For boys, clean shave
True.
is extremely important.
True.
There shouldn't be tattoo or certain things like you may say ring.
Visible.
Those things. So one must avoid that. Absolutely. And another thing in case of girls, they shouldn't make up. Like, I mean, they should use light colors, pleasing colors. This is what I must say.
Absolutely.
And for boys, a tie is very important. Like, I mean, if you are applying for the post of sales,
True.
so that carries weightage. You must use a tie, and that also must be very professional. It shouldn't be like cartoons or something. Flowers shouldn't be there. It is very. It must be very decent, I must say.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we also discussed something over here, which was about how a person needs to sit. So some of them had this question in their mind as to how is a person supposed to sit when he approaches an interview, when he is talking to the interviewer. And then we discussed that how our mind and body has a lot of contact, and that leads to the way we behave. So for example, the shoulders that are down, drooping shoulders, will naturally make you feel low energetic, and that directly is going to reflect in your voice, that is going to reflect in the kind of answers that the person shares. On the contrary, being too relaxed by leaning properly, completely, comfortably, might make the person too casual in his or her approach.
Correct.
So to sound a little alert and vigilant, all the person can do is sit in such a way that the person feels comfortable, is alert and vigilant. Maybe if the spine is erect and you're looking at the audience, or you're looking at the interviewer, so that becomes more comfortable for you while answering. The next important part that we also discussed is gestures. Gestures matter a lot. So there are people who normally have a tendency to not use their hands.
Correct.
So that again becomes a challenge. Why? Because when you don't use your hands, you're not being expressive. So to be expressive, a person needs to use his hands a lot. So with your hands, you're helping the listener build mental images. You're helping them to run a movie in their mind with the help of your hands, your facial expressions, your gestures. Again, your state of mind matters a lot, especially when there are pressure questions or stress questions.
True.
So whenever there's a stress question and the state of mind of the person is to be checked, so here, if the person has a smile on his face while answering, a slight tinge, that is more than enough. So that communicates that the person has a positive approach.
True.
The person is calm and relaxed, is comfortable.
Absolutely.
Isn't it?
Another important thing is eye contact.
Absolutely.
So
matters a lot.
Many people, they answer not looking at the person who is interviewing.
True.
So we saw all these things during our last session.
Absolutely. So now, ladies and gentlemen, let us tell you that it is now time for us to start. So once again, we welcome you all to this online interaction with Millionlights. Good morning. My name is Raj, as you all know, and meet my friend Mr. Vivek.
Good morning everyone, and warm welcome here.
Yes. So to start with, our agenda for today is number one, to understand what are the other questions that you all have that we would love to address. Number two, certain other aspects of the interview process that one needs to take into consideration, which will help you a lot. So would you like to say something as to what all are we going to discuss in the preparation for the interview process?
Yes. We are going to answer or address your questions.
Correct.
That is the first thing we are going to do.
Absolutely.
And we are sharing certain important things at the time of interview or before interview, what do you need to practice or what do you need to do?
Exactly.
Raj, some people, they have question that they ask many times, that do we need to practice or do we need to rehearse before attending the interview?
Okay.
So what will you say about this?
Now again, different strokes for different folks is my answer for this particular thing. Yes, there are some people who are comfortable with this aspect. That is, they love to prepare, and it is this preparation, say a mock interview or something, that helps them a lot, that builds their psychology, that prepares them completely, it makes them more confident. And at the same time, there are some people who believe that the preparation in terms of a mock interview is not what they are more comfortable with, but they believe in being impromptu at that point of time. Now, it is, again, it depends on the different people, the way they are. So, if, I just wanted to change the approach here. So, if they are being like that, so then that is going to help them a lot.
Correct.
A very, very important approach here is to go with the flow that is more comfortable for them. So some of them are comfortable with the preparation part, and so I would say it is amazing. It is really great for them to prepare and go.
Correct.
Some of them are not comfortable. So carrying information which is apt and important for them, they need to have that with them. But at the same time, they cannot just go impromptu without any preparation at all.
Yes. If the technical interview is there, they must go through whatever they have learned.
True.
And your interview or your answers shouldn't sound rehearsed, or it should not sound that you have by hearted certain things and expressing.
Absolutely.
It should sound extremely natural.
Absolutely, absolutely. It makes a huge difference. It makes a huge difference. There are times now, talking about the preparation part, when some of them say, is it okay to prepare and go while approaching an interview? The preparation part, for those that are comfortable, is great. And at the same time, this preparation should not make the person more animated or robotic.
You said it.
Isn't it?
Yes.
So if it is natural, so the way the person is, the way the person normally carries himself or herself, let the answers be with a clear frame of mind. Whatever is the answer, you know the answer well. Is it being presented properly? So maybe a person can work towards the preparation part, taking language into consideration. So if the person is not comfortable speaking in English and the interview is completely in English, so the person can do this preparation part, which can be handy.
Exactly, exactly. Raj, I think there are viewers we need to welcome.
We have a lot of viewers here. We would like to welcome you all, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for being here with us. There's a gentleman who has a question. So shall we start with that?
Please.
Okay. So there's Mr. Vivek here. He says, good morning, sir. Good morning, Vivek.
Good morning,
I want to ask, sometimes a question can be an answer of a question. Like, can we ask some questions to the interviewer while answering? Would you like to answer that?
Yes. People, they have misconceptions in terms of interviews,
Exactly.
that the interviewee must not ask any question.
Absolutely.
But I must say, if your questions are apt, you must ask them.
100%.
You must ask. Why? Because that talks about your genuinity, and that talks about you have your own views.
True.
And it does not sound that it is going in monotonous way.
100%.
Interview is nothing else but an interaction between two or more persons.
Absolutely.
So it is not hard and fast that only the interviewer can ask questions and the interviewee cannot.
Correct.
It is not that way.
Correct.
If you have genuine doubts, genuine questions, you may ask. Many times, Raj, people, they don't understand the question.
True.
And they answer it the way they think.
Absolutely.
That shows little bit negativism.
Yes.
So if you don't understand the question, you must ask.
True. True. I totally agree. Vivek, this is an interesting question. Your question makes a lot of sense, and let us tell you again, although he has already answered your question, just to add some more things to it, it's an amazing idea. Whenever you feel you have a genuine question to ask, During the course of the interview, you are asked a question, and while answering, you have another question, and this is to the interviewer. You may very well ask, and as he rightly pointed out, let the question be relevant, number one. Number two, let it be framed in such a way that the interviewer does not take offense of it.
Absolutely.
प्रश्न इस तरीके से पूछा जाना चाहिए या इस तरीके से उसे फ्रेम करना जरूरी है कि सुनने वाला जो होगा या सुनने वाली जो व्यक्ति होगी, इंटरव्यूअर, उन्हें इससे उन्हें इस बारे में कुछ गलत ना फील आए.
Correct.
है ना? They should feel good about the question and the way it is asked. So here, one important aspect is the tone of voice. So for example, the tone that you use while asking that question makes a lot of impact.
100%.
Schools and colleges are not that much job oriented, and that's a problem all across India and not only in your college. So we have a TV channel, Millionlights. तो आपको अगर ऐसा TV channel हो जिसमें आपको ये सारी skills provide की जाए, do you think it's a good idea or it will be beneficial for you?
Obviously, it will be beneficial. College only thinks according to academic level. They don't think digitally or by thinking our career. They just do their academics और अपनी academics से complete करते हैं. उनका जो target होता है वो हमारे बारे में इतना नहीं सोचते कि हमें और क्या चाहिए.
तो हम आपको लोगों को लगता है कि हमारा जो पूरा कोर्स और सिलेबस जो पैटर्न है हमारा एजुकेशन का उसको चेंज करके मोर ऑफ स्किल बेस्ड बनाना चाहिए?
एक्चुअली बनाना चाहिए, क्योंकि हम लोग यहाँ जो भी सीखते हैं वो कॉर्पोरेट वर्ल्ड में वो यूज़फुल नहीं होता है. जो भी स्किल्स होते हैं वो ज़्यादातर यूज़फुल होते हैं. तो बेसिकली उन सॉफ्ट स्किल्स पे ज़्यादा कॉन्सेंट्रेट करना चाहिए. एकेडमिक्स में भी इम्पोर्टेंस है, लेकिन ये भी होना चाहिए, साथ में 50-50 होना चाहिए.
Now one general knowledge question. Who is the president of India?
प्रणब मुखर्जी.
Oh, you know. Okay, and who is the education minister of?
I don't know. सुषमा स्वराज. नहीं हेल्थ मिनिस्टर.
You know? Okay, no worries. Bang on. Okay, so stay tuned to Millionlights. We'll have more fun. We'll interact with more students and signing off.
Raj, the
Yeah.
words which you use
Yeah.
at the time of asking questions.
True.
Here I'll suggest to use auxiliary verbs.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because instead of asking questions, WH questions directly,
True.
and you may ask for permission.
Right.
May I ask a question?
Excellent.
And
That's
then
amazing.
start. Then
Absolutely.
start. And your question should not be as an interruption.
True. True.
So you must take care of this thing.
100%. That's bang on. The way you said it, it has to be with good manners.
True.
So how do you show good manners, Vivek, in the way you're going to ask a question? You will definitely seek permission. You'll request the person, may I ask you something? And the tone in which you say, naturally the person is going to allow you to, and that's when you go ahead with that particular thing. So asking questions whenever required or necessary is not at all a challenge. True. It just needs to be in the proper way. That is more important.
Yes.
We have some amazing people. We have a lot of them. We have the humorous Ranveer also joining us. So we would again like to welcome you all. Good morning, gentlemen and ladies. Great. Thrifty ji has a wonderful question here. She says, "Sir, please demonstrate an interview conversation on what are your strengths and weaknesses." All right, that's an interesting question. All right, so shall we?
Why not, Raj?
Superb.
I'll be the
Interviewer, as always, go ahead. Yeah.
Yes. Yes, Raj.
Yeah.
What are your strengths?
All right. So my strength is I am extremely good at connecting with people.
Great.
I love to interact with people. I love to talk to them. I'm good at persuading and convincing them. I write very good emails. From the work front, I'm very good as a team player because I connect with all. I'm very good at building rapport with people. So these are my strengths, sir.
Great. As you said, Raj, building rapport is your strength.
Absolutely.
Could you please justify it?
Exactly. So the kind of people I had been with, I constantly stay in touch with them. I connect with them. There are times where I talk to them whenever they also feel that they can approach me. They find me approachable.
Great.
So that is a clear indication of rapport being there.
Super, wonderful, great.
The weakness part.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, what are your weaknesses, Raj?
Oh yes, sir. I have some interesting weaknesses.
Is it?
Yes. I'm in this app or that app or something like that, then I may not be totally comfortable. So it'll take a lot of time for me, or I might find it Latin and Greek, that kind of a thing.
Correct. What do you do to overcome this weakness?
Absolutely. In that case, I identify a person who can help me out with this, who can help me understand what exactly it is. And if I feel that it is bothering my work, the kind of work that I do, then I make sure that I have to tackle this. So I decide a strategy. What is a suitable strategy? So maybe I'll do my own research. I'll find a friend or a colleague or someone who can guide me more, who can help me more about this. And that, I think, is the best way that helps me overcome this.
Excellent. Wonderful.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah. So, Shrishti ji, have we answered your question? Have we given you a proper demonstration that is as per your requirement? All right. So, moving ahead, yeah, we have Divya here, our very obedient participant who's always there.
Yes.
Okay, Divya ji, good morning, welcome. And her question is,
please,
what should be in the mind while sitting in an interview? Excellent, wonderful, wonderful question. Would you like to address that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Divya ji, यहाँ पे fear नहीं होना है, that is another important thing.
Yeah.
So आपके mind में fear बिल्कुल नहीं होना है.
All right.
The reason is, if you have that feeling, fear की अगर भावना है आपके मन में,
Perfect.
so that changes your mood also. It changes your attitude also.
Okay.
Even if you know everything,
Yeah.
you are good at expressing yourself.
Absolutely.
But because of fear, you may not be a good person to express yourself.
True.
That is first thing. Second thing, you have to have positive attitude.
Yeah.
Remember, I'm repeating this, Raj, that interview is nothing else but an interaction.
Absolutely, it is. It is.
An
And it's
interaction.
important for our viewers to understand this.
True. Why? Because people, they think that interview means they judge us. That is the thing. The interviewer is always at the top.
True.
And the interview is little bit subdued. It's
Yes.
not like that. Both are equal. Both are
True.
equal.
True.
You need to express whatever you know,
True.
and the person judges you based on the way you answer.
100%. 100%. What I feel here, to add a little bit more to whatever you said, is, Divyaji, fear multiplies faster than rabbits, as it is said.
True.
So here, we are talking about what should be in the mind of a person sitting at the interview. The most important thing that you can do is developing your self-esteem by telling you, why are you worthy enough to sit there and to answer the questions that are asked to you? Always, even while you prepare, and any time there's an iota of doubt in your mind, there is a doubt that occurs to your mind, you need to ask yourself this question very deeply. Why are you worthy enough to appear, to be there for an interview? So once you get all the answers as to why should you be going there, why should you be sitting in that chair, and you have all the answers, naturally it is going to build your psyche. You'll be more relaxed, you'll breathe easy, you'll be comfortable, you will sound more confident, your body language will be good. You will never have that doubt. There will be no force that will drag you back.
Absolutely true. Divyaji, you must practice self-talk.
Absolutely.
Before
That's the key.
attending an interview.
That's the key. That's the key.
And the self-talk should be positive.
True. True. There are some interesting questions, lot of questions, and so to start with,
Please.
After Divyaji, Sai has an interesting question. He says, tell me about a challenge or conflict you have faced at work and how you dealt with it. Now, I don't know whether it is a question for us or is it for someone who attends an interview, and how a person needs to answer this. Yeah, absolutely. So, Sai, in this particular case, if at all there's a question like this, so tell me about a challenge or conflict you have faced at work and how you dealt with it. Here, the person needs to have an introspection as to what exactly was challenging. So challenging may not be something negative. It can be something which was an interesting experience.
Correct.
It can be something where the person's skills were put to test. The person's confidence was put to test. And the person overcame that. So how did the person do that? The person had a strategy. The person used certain skills, tools, whatever. Maybe the person used the support of others, resources that were available, and the person was able to overcome. So this becomes the main idea here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Another thing, Raj, this question is an important opportunity
True.
to express your skills,
Absolutely.
interpersonal skills.
Yes.
Why?
Yes.
Because conflicts and doubts and what do you call disturbances, those are because of people only.
Correct.
So when you interact with different people,
Correct.
so it is natural that you may come across situations like conflicts or some misunderstandings.
True.
Or if there are some challenges also.
True.
So it talks about the way you interact with people. How are you as a team member?
Absolutely.
So it is an important opportunity. So don't
100%.
get disheartened or fearful because of this question.
100%. In fact, Sai, just to add a little more to whatever he has said, every question that is asked at an interview, irrespective of whether it is making you comfortable or a little uncomfortable, if you already carry a thought in your mind that you are what you are and you're happy with the way you are and you're also open enough to improve yourself, you're ready to take every opportunity that comes your way and you're ready to improve yourself, elevate yourself. So if that is in your mind, then naturally you'll be able to sail through every question that comes your way.
Correct.
Yeah. So moving ahead, Ranveer has an interesting question. So Ranveer says, should I do self-advertisement? Is what he asks. Should there be a self-advertisement? Okay. So Ranveer, just to confirm, does self-advertisement mean blowing the person's own trumpet? Is that what you're talking about? Or is it that the person expresses more information than that is expected out of the person? So if it is the second thing, that is sharing more information that is expected than that is expected out of the person, then one should refrain from this. One should go away from this. Need not share extra information.
True.
It'll be great if the interviewer allows the candidate to speak more or expects the candidate to speak a little more, then the person may definitely express more. What do you think?
Same thing, Raj. Another thing, like it is said that interview means you sell yourself.
100%.
So why not in a dignified manner?
True.
This is
True.
what I think.
True. True.
You shouldn't sound that you're blowing your trumpet.
True. The person shouldn't sound that the person is bragging a lot.
Yes.
So the moment a person sounds bragging with the I language, there will be a lot of I.
Correct.
So if that is the language continuously, then that is something a person needs to refrain from. If the person is asked about something to do with work experience, and here the person has considerable amount of details to share, which is worth sharing, and that is going to help the interviewer understand him more on that front, then it becomes important to share. Here you're not advertising yourself, but here you're just passing information that is asked for.
Perfectly right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So moving ahead, Nishant has a question. It says, what are the points to keep in mind while facing an interview through Skype, that is video conferencing?
Excellent. Wonderful. Now this is, you must say that the new technology.
Absolutely.
Multiple industries, many MNCs also, they follow
True.
this kind of an interview.
True.
Now here you need to be very perfectionist in terms of handling technology.
100%.
You must practice it before that.
True. True.
Why? Because you are not facing that person in person.
True.
So obviously you need to take into consideration certain things. Where are you sitting? Like, I mean, the place also matters a lot.
Yes. Yes.
It should not be very noisy.
Absolutely.
Another thing, you must feel comfortable.
True.
So this is another important thing you should take care of.
100%.
Yes. Anything else you add to Raj?
Yes, I would like to add something interesting, Nishant. Number one, very important is, one needs to check if the audio visual aid that you have at your place is really smooth, it is fluent, it is comfortable.
True.
Because the interviewer at the other end should not have any disturbances, because you are controlling the state of mind of the interviewer even based on this kind of a thing. So your setup at your place has to be nice and comfortable. Number two, as he rightly said, the place where you're seated and the way you're seated. So for example, some people prefer answering an interview, a Skype interview, sitting on the bed. Now here, it's not wrong to sit on the bed and answer if that's your comfort. But at the same time, just imagine you have your camera and at the background, there are clothes lying everywhere. Would that make the scenario interesting? It reflects a lot about the person, isn't it? Even before the interview starts. So the person needs to keep in mind all these things. Can he show some kind of professionalism while he attends such an interview? The next part is the person needs to ask certain things beforehand so that he gets a confirmation. So for example, if he needs to confirm, am I audible? He may ask the interviewer confidently. It's not wrong. It's a wonderful thing to ask. Why? Because you're just confirming so that you want to sound well, isn't it? The next part is, are you able to see me clearly? Is there some kind of glare or something? Is the illumination okay? You can confirm these things. Next is the kind of attire the person is wearing. So if you're wearing a formal attire, excellent. That's the way to go. It cannot be casual. There are people who even wear casual attires a lot of times. Maybe because they are at home or something of that sort, or third part. But again, what is recommended is a formal attire. So formal attire, again, the kind of shirt. There are people who they don't have a completely clean shaved look. They have a stubble. They sport slight beard.
Correct.
If the requirement of that particular job demands the person to be well groomed, then it's always better that you have a clean shave while you sit, while you're talking. So these things matter a lot.
Correct. Another important thing, your facial expressions, they also matter a lot.
100%.
Why? Because many times it happens that if we are not in person, I mean, we are not sitting in front of or in opposite each other,
Facing each other.
Then many times it happens that we tend to use or we tend to show certain things, those are not good.
True.
Or you may say are certain habits.
True.
So you need to concentrate here also. Your
Yeah.
facial expressions, they matter a lot.
Correct.
So little smile on your face,
True.
that matters a lot. It sounds that it's going on in a natural way.
True.
Yes.
Prachi has an interesting question here.
Please.
So she asks, many times we know the answer to each question, but we get confused and we can't answer. How to overcome this problem?
Great. Prachi, this happens because of fear, nothing else.
Absolutely.
Because of fear, nothing else. Like if you think you know the answer properly, you need to answer it confidently.
True.
So here I suggest you to practice such questions.
Absolutely.
But it shouldn't sound that you have rehearsed.
True.
Now, this happens mainly when certain technical questions are asked.
Exactly.
Knowing everything, you may get confused at the time of answering.
True.
So, if you make your answer in a chronological order,
Yes.
you will never forget it.
100%.
And here I must say that you must repeat certain things. For example, if you are explaining any procedure,
True.
so there shouldn't be change in the sequence.
Absolutely.
Correct.
It
And
makes a huge
if you
difference.
are explaining certain things where there is no procedure,
Yeah.
you can change your points. No
100%.
one knows other than you.
Correct.
So this you practice it.
Correct.
Yes.
Another part that I also would like to tell Prachi here is, Prachi, it is a very common phenomena. It can happen to anyone, anytime. Now, Prachi, the best part that I feel, in my humble opinion, I would like to tell you here is, what you can also do along with whatever he suggested, which is very, very powerful, you can always pause at that point of time and tell the interviewer, I know the answer and I'm a little confused because I am a little nervous. May I have some water, please? Or may I pause for a minute so that I can answer well? Now, the confidence with which you say this openly, what are you doing? You're just showing acceptance to your state of mind at that point of time.
True.
You're telling the interviewer clearly that I know the answer, I would like to answer, I'm just a little confused at this moment. May I have some water? And the moment you breathe easy and you take a pause, you're now ready to answer, and that is when you need to go slowly, steadily, and the way he said, putting your answers in proper order chronologically.
Correct. Yes. Is there any new question?
Yeah, a lot of questions.
Great.
Again. So, Shruti is here again. Shruti has a lot of questions.
Oh,
The last time she had a question, and this time she has a question again.
Great.
She says, I got nervous at the time of interview, so how to overcome with that? Shruti, we understand and we really feel sorry for that part. It's okay, Shruti, let us tell you. Be brave. It's a great experience. You got nervous, you realized you were nervous. Excellent, it's okay. That means now you have acceptance to the fact that there can be a situation where you might get nervous.
Correct.
It's okay, Shruti. You're not the only person. There are many who get nervous. A lot of us get nervous at some point of time, maybe while interacting with someone or something. So it's a very common thing, and don't worry.
correct. Because we don't know the interviewer.
Absolutely.
That is another thing that causes nervousness.
100%.
So it is extremely natural.
100%.
But keep in mind that you have knowledge, you have confidence. So there is no question to be nervous.
Exactly.
And nervousness, it happens with everyone. Even experienced person also has little nervousness. The reason is we come across a stranger.
Exactly.
That's all, nothing else.
Exactly.
Yes.
Now, Shruti, as for this nervousness part, what should you be doing? How do you tackle this? What are the actions you need to take? I would just like to share certain things that you may start practicing now onwards.
Great.
Now, first thing is, Shruti, you ask yourself, what exactly was going on with you at the moment when you felt nervous? What was it? Was it at that point of time while answering a certain question that you were not comfortable, that you went nervous, that you became nervous? Or was it that even before you approached the place of interview that you got nervous?
Correct.
So where exactly did this nervousness start coming into you? You need to identify that. If this is something to do with maybe even before you started for the interview, you became nervous, then that is exactly where your self-talk, the way you think about it, needs to be changed. A lot of times people get nervous because of one important part, that is they're more concerned about the outcome of the interview. So, will I be selected? Will I be rejected? If this is the thought going in the mind, then that is naturally going to make a person nervous. What you do here is go with an open frame of mind. You know yourself better. You know what you're worthy of. You know what are your skills, your knowledge, where is it applicable, where is it suitable. When you approach an interview, you talk to the interviewer, you explain yourself. The interviewer finds you suitable enough to hire you for that job. Excellent, you get the job. If the interviewer does not find you suitable enough, what is there for you to lose? It's just another experience in life.
True.
Now, if this is the approach that you carry in your mind, you'll be more relaxed while you approach. And believe me, this is going to help you overcome your nervousness.
Correct.
People have a desperation that makes them nervous a lot of times. So avoid the desperation part. Be more relaxed when you approach an interview. Remember, knocking one door and not being able to open it is never the answer. Have the courage to knock hundreds of doors, because that is going to allow one door to open for you. Clear? I hope I've answered your question.
Superb. I need to add certain things here.
Please.
Shruti, I don't know much about you.
Yeah.
But there are people who become nervous when they interact with strangers.
Absolutely.
So I don't know much about yourself. If you have such kind of an experience, I suggest you to interact with strangers.
True.
So that will build your confidence.
True.
Correct? Yeah. So wish you all the best, Shruti.
Yes. Here, Mr. Vivek Tripathi, he has an appreciation for us. He says that, moved by your answers, sir. Thank you for answering my question. Vivek, we are moved by your response.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a ton,
Thank you
Vivek.
very much.
Good.
We are
Yeah.
very grateful to you. Thank you very much. Okay. Shruti again, the next question from Shruti. Why are you leaving or have left your job? How to deal with this question? Oh, wonderful. Excellent. Now, Shruti, we all have our reasons, right? Why a person left his or her job. Now, that's exactly what you need to explain. Yes, if there's something that you need to take care of, if at all it was an unpleasant reason because of which you had to leave your previous job, then it's always better you do not cite that reason. If it was a person or a situation that made you leave that job, correct. Again, if it is unpleasant, it's always better you do not cite that example. Why you do not cite this example? Because it creates an impact. It allows the person who is listening to you, the interviewer, to perceive you. So maybe in the interviewer's mind, the interviewer might take this into consideration, saying that, oh, so if a person tells this candidate to do something and the candidate does not like it, chances are the candidate might leave the job. Oh, so maybe this candidate has a short temper. Somebody told something, the candidate did not like it, and in a fit of rage, the person went with the impulse and left the job. Or maybe a certain situation that the candidate faced, the candidate does not have the required skill sets or knowledge to tackle that situation, and so the candidate left the job. So people will always perceive it that way. How do you answer? So here you may talk about things that you are looking forward to in life. So it can be more towards your growth, it can be more towards your learning.
Absolutely.
It can be a lot of other things which the company that you're applying for a job will appreciate.
Correct. Many times it happens that answer to this question, many interviewees, they answer it a sort of defaming that company.
Yeah.
It should not happen.
Yeah.
Even about a person, you should not use any abusive or negative language, because that talks a lot about you.
True.
And it shows your attitude. Many people, they say that there was politics. So that is not a reason to leave
Absolutely.
a job.
Absolutely.
Because you may come across a question that here there is politics going on. Will you join here or not?
Exactly.
So you must be very meticulous while answering such a question. It should sound that you need something that is better in terms of your career, your growth,
Correct.
all these things. Many people, they talk about distance.
Yeah.
Means my company where I was working was far from my place.
Yeah.
That shouldn't be the reason to leave.
Absolutely.
Correct?
Absolutely.
So it talks a lot about you.
100%.
Many of them, they talk about the infrastructure.
True.
One should not talk about such things.
True.
So you need to be very careful while answering this question.
Yes.
And you should sound very convincing.
And genuine.
True.
Again,
Absolutely.
as you said right.
Absolutely true.
There's a gentleman, Gaurav, who has a question. He says, what is the STAR method of interviewing?
Come
Would you
again?
like to? What is the STAR method of interviewing?
So he wants to know about
Yeah.
the method.
Method.
Now there are many things which you can see here.
Exactly.
So there is no hard and fast rule as such.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So what I would like to say here is, Gaurav, first of all, when you say the STAR method of interviewing, so typically if you're talking about a method in which an interview needs to be conducted or something, if that is what you're seeking, then there are multiple aspects to it.
Correct.
There cannot be just one aspect.
True.
The psychometric aspect again becomes important.
Correct.
Depending on the post for which the person is hiring.
True.
Then the knowledge part again, the technical again has a different way of looking at
Exactly.
the kind of questions that need to be streamlined to ask that. Then you're talking about say another aspect which is the language or the attitude aspect. So that again becomes a totally different way. So I would love to answer this question if you just elaborate a little more. What exactly do you expect over here?
Correct.
I'll be happy to answer this question for you, Gaurav.
Correct.
Okay, so let's move to the next question. So we have a gentleman, Mr. S. Kashyap, who says, how to deal with 200 people for 10 posts? That kind of an interview stress. How do you deal with that?
Oh,
So there are 200 people who have lined up, who have come for the interview, and there are only 10 posts available. So how do you deal with that kind of stress is what he asks, I suppose. Kashyap, if I've got your question right, do let me know. In case there is something else that you feel you're willing to ask, do let us know. We'll be happy to address that.
correct. Correct. Because here it talks much about, you can say, stress factor.
Absolutely.
Correct. So ideally speaking, same thing if you are confident enough, if you know what post are you applying for,
Yeah.
And if you have convincing answers to all the questions, the number of candidates, that doesn't matter.
True.
And another thing, I mean, I didn't get his question, because is he asking from the point of view of an interviewer or an interviewee?
No, he's asking, from whatever I understand from his question, suppose he's also one of the participants.
Among those 200.
Among the 200.
Great.
And the number of vacancies is 20.
Great.
And there's a lot of stress. So who's going to get the job? Who's going to get the job? That kind of a thing. Maybe that's what, from whatever I understand.
True.
So how should a person tackle that stress factor?
Same thing as I said, that if you have knowledge, if you have confidence, if you have experience, you can say. So things are extremely easy. So stress, obviously, it has to be there, because many times it happens that if someone is searching for a job, so stress factor is there, but it should not control over you. You should control that stress
100%.
factor. And the best way to control over your stress is to be positive, to be confident, and forget about getting a job or not, but keep thing in mind that you are going to prove yourself, or you are going to express yourself in a better manner.
True.
So don't compare with anyone. Many times it happens that people, if you find someone very well dressed or very confident, so there are two things. One thing is that the person is really confident, and other side is that he is not serious about the things. He is taking it extremely lightly.
Absolutely.
So don't compare with anyone.
100%.
So even if there are 1,000 people, so you shouldn't get nervous or stressed.
100%. Excellent. Your answer is bang on. Just to add a little more,
Please.
Kashyap, one very important part, an interesting thing to understand is, most of the stress that a person has is because of the way the person thinks.
True.
So your stress is more because of the way you think. What do I mean by this is that if in your mind you have doubts about yourself, if in your mind you have more confidence about the remaining 199 people that are there with you. So here, like he rightly pointed out, if you're comparing the two parties, that is you on one side and the 199 on the other side, based on looks, based on knowledge, based on language, all these factors, then those are things that you need to curtail. What is the maximum that can happen, Kashyap, is what you need to ask yourself. The maximum can be that you may not get selected, you may not be shortlisted.
True.
All right. So does that put a full stop to your career? No, that does not. Isn't it?
Correct.
Absolutely. If you're hardworking, if you're genuine, you'll have more opportunities. We have often seen a lot of very good candidates not getting recommended or not getting selected, just despite being well qualified. Why? Because again, on a given day, if they are not in a position to answer well, or maybe the interviewer has a different frame of mind, has a different frame of looking at them, and maybe that's what did not match on that particular day. So it can always happen. All you need to do is, how can you align yourself with the requirements that are there with the organization?
True.
Now, if you're able to carry these two things parallelly, you have good manners, you're showing your sanskar, your culture in terms of your language, yeah, even that makes a huge difference.
True.
What do you think?
Exactly. And Mr. Kashyap, I want to tell you one important thing, that is, don't consider yourself among 200. You consider yourself, I will be one among those 20s or 10.
Absolutely. That's the attitude to carry. Excellent. So, Divya has a question here. She says, where will you see yourself in 5 years? If I don't really know, then how can I answer this? Excellent, Divya.
Super.
Wonderful.
Wonderful question, Divya. I really appreciate
Wonderful
this
question.
Yes.
And the way she answered it is
Great.
also interesting.
Great.
She genuinely cited,
Yes.
saying that if I don't know, what do I do?
Correct.
Yeah, that's interesting, Divya, and it may happen with a lot of people.
True.
Would you like to answer that?
You answer, I'll add
All right.
certain things.
So here, Divya, if a question of this sort is asked, and you know that questions like these might be asked, before you even approach for the interview, I'm sure as a candidate, you start thinking about what kind of questions will be asked. So whenever there's a question like this that occurs to your mind, this question is mainly asked to see what are the ambitions that the person carries.
Superb.
So are you an ambitious person? That's important. If you feel that, sir, I do not have a clear idea as to what all will happen in the next 5 years in my life, if that is genuinely what you think about it, it is okay to even say that. Now, if the interviewer does not like this answer, it is that interviewer's perception. You cannot do anything about it. You're just being honest about the whole thing. It is always better to say this than to even lie, isn't it, Divya? True. The next part is, Divya, when you're preparing and deep within you, when you ask this question, while you're applying for a job at a certain organization, if you ask this question, where will I be in the next 5 years or 10 years? And you have a list of answers that is your visualization, that is your ambition, and that gives you more motivation, then that's exactly what you need to tell that person. People have made up answers over here when they say, I'll be at a very high position, I'll be this, that, and all.
True, true.
Now, if it is not genuine,
True.
It does not appeal to the interviewer.
Correct.
Again, it has to be realistic.
Exactly.
So, if a person is joining as an executive, he's joining at a very, very normal level, and he's talking about becoming the CEO in 5 years, then that's like asking for the moon.
Absolutely.
It does not sound practical, realistic, isn't it? So this is where the ingenuity is seen. This is where the person is not authentic, is what the interviewer understands. So it's always better that you think about it.
Correct. I'll just add, this question, it talks about a focused person. Like, I mean,
100%.
the interviewer wants to know, are you focused?
Ambitious.
Are you clear about your career?
True.
So answering this question will show certain qualities, those are there with you, and be realistic.
That's the most important part.
Yeah, some people, they answer that I want to be a CEO.
Straight away.
Straight away. And after 5 years, will it be possible? Because that post needs experience, lot of experience.
Absolutely.
Right? And answering this is like asking for the moon, as you rightly said. So you must be realistic.
Although it's a nice and bold answer.
True, true.
But deep within,
True.
the person may even feel that it's okay. But is it practical?
Correct.
In 5 years,
Correct.
or say in 10 years, where the person is joining at this point of time,
True.
at the initial level in the organization.
True.
So he's not even appearing, or he's not even there for an interview for a senior position. Then naturally, and at a senior position, these kind of questions may not be asked.
True.
A lot of times. True. Yeah. So Akanksha has an interesting question. She asks, if the interviewer asks, for how long are you planning to work in this organization? What should be the answer? Absolutely, Akanksha, you won't say that.
Correct.
Right? So what you do here is, if you really have a critical path that you've laid for yourself, and you would like to talk about it, so you naturally talk about that. At any point of time, it is important to let the person know that you will be there, or you're looking forward to a nice, good career with the organization, and not typically give a number. Because the number part here, I'll be here for 5 years. So when you say I'll be here for 5 years, you're being genuine, you're being authentic.
True.
But at the same time, you're making the interviewer think again, why should I hire a person for 5 years and then again sit to hire a new person? So it's always better that you do not talk about the number thing.
Generally, this question is asked to someone. Why? Because if your CV talks about you, that means you have 5 years experience and you have changed more than 10 or 12 organizations. So it shows that you are a job hopper. And based on that, the company wants to know, or the interviewer wants to know, that are you going to leave this job again after 2, or you may say 1 year.
Absolutely.
So you have to be very careful before answering this question.
100%.
Some people, they answer bluntly that I don't know something about future.
True.
So that also talks about your genuinity.
100%.
But you send a negative message here.
Yes.
That you are not confident, you are not focused, or you have little bit shaky kind of
Approach.
attitude or approach. So, answering this question, how many years will you be with us? So, you cannot tell number of years.
You can, may I?
Please.
So you can maybe say here that you're looking forward to a long association with the organization.
Exactly.
So your long association
True.
does not equate into any number.
True.
It does not equate into any numerical.
True.
So that saves you, and at the same time makes the interviewer understand, yes, you're very sincere about your approach for this particular job. So our friend Ranveer, the humorous one, has a wonderful question. Ranveer, let me tell you, your questions are interesting, and this one literally made me laugh first. So it's an interesting
So
question.
I am very eager to know Ranveer's question.
So Ranveer's question is, if you could, what animal would you be and why? Now, how to answer an irrelevant question like this? Okay, wonderful. Ranveer, may I?
Please, Raj.
Okay, Ranveer, let me tell you, although as a candidate you might feel, why am I being asked this question? Let me tell you, there is a lot of relevance even in the irrelevant question.
Absolutely.
I'll tell you how. Now, this particular question is not to choose or is not to see what animal you choose. Even if you say you'll be a mouse, you need to convince. Even if you say you'll be a snake, you need to convince why and what about the snake. Even if you say you'll be an elephant or a tiger, so why and what exactly about that animal. So the person here is trying to understand, how do you think?
Excellent.
So although it may look like a very, very irrelevant, out of the box kind of a question, it is nowhere relevant to the technical aspect or the job part and all that, but still it is mainly to see the way a person thinks, what does a person value in an animal because of which he chose that. So these kind of things are same.
Exactly. Even if you answer a donkey, that will never give negative impression. The reason
Absolutely.
is there are certain positive things associated with every animal.
100%.
And this question is asked to judge your temperament. The interviewer will observe your facial expressions. If you come across something that is altogether strange, how do you react to this?
Correct.
Yes.
100%. Mahi has a question here. Mahi ji, she has a question. She asks, Sir, if we are not comfortable with English, then can we go ahead with the interview process in Hindi? Number one. Another extension to the question is, and what would be the answer if the interviewer asks, how would you be an asset to this company? Would you like to?
Yes, I answer her first question.
Please.
देखिए माही जी, अगर आप इंटरव्यूअर से कॉन्फिडेंटली ऐसा कह सकती हैं कि हिंदी में मैं अगर जवाब दूं तो चलेगा क्या? One thing. Another thing, if your job requirement or what are the things you need to do while performing that job, and it has to do with you can say interacting with various people.
Absolutely.
And if the company is a multinational company,
yeah,
correct, and you are not good at English,
yes,
correct, you try to answer in English, telling that person openly that I am little bit nervous, that's the reason. If you allow me to answer using any other language, Hindi, so may I answer in Hindi, you can tell it openly. That talks a lot about your openness.
Confidence.
And another thing is that language is a skill which you can acquire.
100%.
It talks about your genuinity that must be within.
Absolutely.
So the person may take it in a positive manner that this person has something. Mahi ji ke paas ek spark hai, she is good at, and I am sure that she may pick up this language or English within stipulated or certain period of time.
100%.
So that is one thing, but I suggest you to improve your communication skills before attending interviews. You must have bare minimum knowledge.
True.
Which will show certain positivity.
True. True.
Yes.
One important aspect here,
Please.
Mahiji, that again, although he has answered it wonderfully, I would also like to add here is that language becomes a medium to express yourself.
Correct.
Right? I'm sure you are aware of this. We all are aware. Certain organizations prefer English. Certain organizations have the flexibility.
True.
What can you do here? The most important part. Now, language, being good at some language and not being good at, again, also has a lot to do with the attitude that the person carries.
True.
So, when you approach an interview and you are expected to speak in English, the first thing you can do, you're not comfortable, and you feel that that is going to derail you or the way you speak, the best thing that you can do is you can, even before important questions are cited to you or when you start speaking, you can confidently show acceptance and admit straight away, saying that, may I answer in Hindi, or may I say something? You can just tell the interviewers, may I say something before I start answering? And then they might ask you, yes, please go ahead. And that is when you show or you tell them what exactly the situation is. So you tell them that although I speak English, my English is not 100% fluent. I may speak in a way where there might be some errors. Will it be okay for you if I speak in Hindi? I'll be more comfortable. Or is it okay if I continue with the same English that I speak now? When you say this, and the person is comfortable, so you can go ahead with it. It becomes easy.
Excellent.
The second part. Yeah, her second question says, and what will be the answer if the interviewer asks, how would you be an asset to this organization, to our company?
करेक्ट. यहाँ पे मैं आपको कहना चाहूँगा माही जी कि ये सवाल है जो आपको आपकी स्ट्रेंथ्स के बारे में पूछता है. इंस्टेड ऑफ आस्किंग डायरेक्टली अबाउट योर स्ट्रेंथ्स, दैट इज व्हाट आर योर स्ट्रेंथ्स, द पर्सन मस्ट हैव आस्क्ड दिस कि आप कंपनी के लिए एसेट किस तरीके से साबित कर सकती हो. तो आपको यहाँ आपके स्ट्रेंथ्स बतानी है, एंड दैट टू वो कंपनी की डेवलपमेंट और ग्रोथ के लिए पैरेलली चलते हैं.
Absolutely.
So that matters a lot. It talks about your strengths.
True.
And you must sound realistic.
100%.
क्योंकि ये सवाल का जवाब बहुत से स्टूडेंट्स वो रट्टा मार के जाते हैं, and they express, and if they come across any cross question they get fumbled. So remember that you need to tell your strengths, and those strengths must go parallelly, and there must be certain growth factors.
True.
Your personal growth as well as company's growth also.
True.
Yes.
माही जी, यहाँ पे आप एक इस सवाल का जवाब देते समय आप एक सवाल खुद को पूछ सकते हो कि उस कंपनी में काम करने वाले जो लोग हैं, they are working there because they have certain qualities, they have certain skills, knowledge, whatever, that makes them work in that organization well. You also have the same thing. Now that does not make you an asset. Uske alawa, what else do you possess as your hidden qualities that can be used for the benefit of the company, which can make you an asset for the company? So it can be maybe some extra skills that you have with you, जो कि work context से अलग है, और इनके बारे में आप बोल सकते हो. Maybe आपका जो attitude है वो और कैसा अलग है, आपका काम की तरफ देखने का दृष्टिकोण ये कैसा अलग है, और ये कंपनी के लिए कितना फायदेमंद हो सकता है, ये आप एक्सप्लेन कर सकते हो. एंड दिस कैन बी अ ग्रेट आइडिया फॉर यू टू एक्सप्लेन हाउ कैन यू बी एन असेट टू दैट कंपनी.
Excellent, wonderful. Yes.
So Divya has an interesting question. She says, if Google will hire you, what will you do? Definitely I will leave my job, but how can I tell the interviewer?
Correct.
Excellent. Divya, that's a wonderful, honest answer that you have.
Super,
Yeah. Would you like to?
Yeah, I would love to.
Sure.
Now, this question, it talks about if.
Yeah.
मतलब ये सवाल आपको इमेजिन करने के लिए फोर्स करता
True.
है. So, even if you answer openly, that will talk a lot about you.
Absolutely.
Correct? So ये सवाल आपको if है, if मतलब the thing is not real, आपको imagine करके जवाब देना है. So if you add humor, it will make sense.
Absolutely.
और ये जो सवाल है उनको situational questions या imaginary things, like I mean आपको essay writing में आपने फेस किया रहेगा कि अगर मैं देश की पंतप्रधान बनूं तो या प्रधानमंत्री बनूं तो, this is the same question. You can use your imagination to answer this question. And if you sound little humorous, that person 100% will take it in a positive manner.
Absolutely. I would like to join two questions. One is Divya ji's question and Shrishti ji's question. Okay, I'll combine both.
Please.
So I'll also read out Shrishti ji's questions. It says, her question says, sorry. She says, good question, Divya. Sir, should we manipulate such answers? Now I'll combine both these and I would like to add something. First of all, Divya, when it is about answering a question like this, how can I tell the interviewer straight away? That kind. Okay, fair enough. Now here, do you know why a question is being asked at this place? One is maybe to check your attitude. Next is, what do you value more in life? For example, on one hand, if you see you have Google, on the other hand, you have an organization that you have come to for an interview. Now, the organization that you have come to for an interview is serving you certain things, is ready to give you certain things. And he is asking you a question to see your greed towards a bigger organization, to see your pull towards a bigger organization. Why would you choose? Now here the person is also keen to understand how you think. So at one go, it may seem like, yes, I'll go for Google, which is amazing. But at the same time, the salary pay is good, the package is interesting, it is extremely lucrative, it pulls you, it drags you. And the hidden part is, what else comes with the package? So for example, if you have a wonderful package here, but you're not doing the kind of job that you would love to do, would you still go to Google? Because that is not what the person is talking to you about. Would you still say, yes, I'll go to Google? Because that will be his counter question later. If you say, I'll go to Google, and then when he asks you, and then when you say that, no, then in that case, I'll take a pause and I'll think. People do this. So here, all you need to do is, he's trying to help you weigh. He's trying to understand how are you going to tackle this particular mindset.
True.
So here you need to align things. What is of value to you? And how are you going to differentiate the two things? And how do you make your decisions in life? So that's exactly, and once it is genuine, authentic, and the person understands कि आप जिंदगी में क्या चाहते हो आपके आइडियल जॉब से, भले ही आपको बहुत ही बड़े ऑर्गेनाइजेशन से कॉल आ जाए, लेकिन आपका दोनों चीज़ों की तरफ देखने का दृष्टिकोण ये आपका लॉयल्टी भी बताएगा, ये आपकी मांग क्या है लाइफ में ये भी दिखाई देगा इससे, है ना? सो अकॉर्डिंगली आपका डिसीजन मेकिंग होगा, एंड दैट आई थिंक विल प्रोजेक्ट यू honestly and in a very genuine way. What do you think?
Same thing. Right?
Isn't it?
Same thing, yes.
So a lot of questions, a lot of things, and I think Shrishti ji, we have also answered your question with this particular thing, and that's how I believe I have.
Correct.
Manipulation is never a good idea.
True.
Never.
True.
Okay. Ranveer has an important point here, and I think we need to address this.
Please.
Ranveer says, I have already appeared for 5 to 10 interviews. Now I'm tired of appearing for interviews. How do I stay motivated? Now, Ranveer, I totally empathize with you. I can understand, yes, it can be tiring a lot of times where you have been through a lot of interviews and you see that, oh, somewhere you do not fit, or maybe you're not recommended or selected or that kind of a thing. And how do you stay motivated? Simplest thing, Ranveer, let me ask you. You have been through all these interviews. Have you ever gone into an introspection mode genuinely? A self-introspection mode? If you say, yes, I have introspected myself, कि मैं पहले इंटरव्यू में 10 इंटरव्यूज में क्या हो रहा था जो कि मैं रिपीट कर रहा था और तक शायद वो गलत चीज़ होगी जो कि मुझे नहीं करना चाहिए. Maybe the strategy that you chose for all these 10 interviews did not work in your favor, then you need to change your strategy now. Change your strategy can be multiple things, right from the way you look, right from the way you dress, right from the way you speak. The moment you open your mouth, the interviewer is making judgments about you. The way you answer each question, the interviewer is judging you.
Correct.
Your technical knowledge, maybe you have an aptitude test, you were brilliant at aptitude tests, and when it was a one-to-one, the way you answered, the way you expressed yourself, or maybe there were situational questions and you were clueless as to how to answer that, then these are things that you also need to think about. So changing your strategy is more important. And let me tell you, Ranveer, today, if this is a real situation with you, then let me tell you, this is a passing cloud, let me tell you.
Excellent.
That's not the only thing. There will always be an up and down. So the graph cannot just be down, it will always be fluctuating. So just be confident about yourself. Do you doubt your ability? The moment you say, I am not motivated, you're doubting your ability. And let me tell you, Ranveer, a person like you with humor as a part of his personality naturally is motivated. So I want you to see the humorous side of this aspect also. So the next time when you approach an interview and the person maybe asks you that, oh, you've been for 10 interviews and you did not get, can you add a little humor over there? And the moment you add that, let me tell you, it projects your brilliant attitude.
True. Absolutely. Don't lose your heart, Ranveer. Something better is waiting for you.
Yes, absolutely. So Srishti ji comes again with her question. How do we explain multiple switches reflected on our CV? All right. Would you like to address that?
You answer it.
All right. How do we explain multiple switches reflected on our CV? So here, if there are multiple things that are there to be explained, so based on whatever needs to be asked first, so if the person talks about, say, why did you go for this? And then you suddenly had a different direction that you jumped to, and then all of a sudden there was a different turn. Now, it will always be great to explain why genuinely, or what was going on in the person's mind at that point of time. Whether the decision was good or bad is irrelevant. If you say that, yes, I regret that decision, then that is a challenge. But if you say that, sir, I'm glad that I have a diverse experience with me. I'm glad that I had, yes, sir, I had these switches. I first worked over here and then I worked over there and that. So you have all these things. And if you can logically explain as to how have these things helped you, the interviewer might try to pressurize you, might try to stress you more by saying that, oh, this is something bad. He might say all sort of things which are his opinions, and at the same time, he also wants you to get tensed. But at this point of time, if you're able to convince him by saying that although multiple switches for the interviewer may reflect as bad, how good have they been for you? And if you're able to talk about that aspect, amazing, nothing like that. You have naturally convinced the person that yes, you have a very positive outlook towards life, and the number of switches that you had, those are really important and those will work for you.
Excellent, Raj. सृष्टि जी को मैं बताना चाहता हूँ कि मैं खुद ये एक्सपीरियंस से जा चुका हूँ, and you know it better.
Absolutely,
Because
absolutely.
if you go through my CV, you will ask me this question 100%. And I never faced any challenge while answering. Like, I mean, my fields were altogether different, but those things never became an obstacle to get me a new job. In fact,
100%.
I faced this question quite a few of times.
Absolutely.
So, two different organizations, two different fields, everything was different, nothing was identical. But I got job because of my convincing answers, I must say.
100%. Absolutely.
So
It
don't
makes a
worry
huge
about
difference.
whatever there are different switches, don't worry about that. Be confident in it.
Absolutely. We'll take 2 more questions. Will that be okay?
Please.
We'll just tell the audience members here that we deeply respect your questions.
Yes.
And we are really happy to answer.
Correct.
And at the same time, we also need to keep track of time. So we'll just take 2 important questions. One is from Mona and one is from Shagira.
Please.
And after that, we can wrap up. So Mona has an interesting question. She says, hello, sir. If I'm proved wrong in some point, then how to react. Superb. May I?
Please.
Mona, this can also happen. Yes, I totally agree that yes, chances are that there might be a time where you wanted to say something or you're proved wrong in a certain way. The interviewer shows you a different angle of the way you were looking at things, and that's wrong. So what do you do here? The simplest thing is you accept and you say that, wow, that's amazing. Thank you very much, sir, for opening my eyes. Had I been at your place, I would have done that. With this particular thing, you're clearly showing that you do not carry an ego. You're very, very accommodative. You're very flexible in your approach. You're just accepting the interviewer's viewpoint, which may differ from yours. And if it sounds okay to you, you're even okay to accept it. And because the interviewer has maybe proved you wrong, as you put it, so here in that case, the best part is to show respect to that opinion, accept it, and be happy about it.
Excellent, wonderful. Yeah. Do not show any kind of nervousness when you come across such a situation. Handle it very diplomatic manner.
Absolutely. Shagira has a question. She asks, hi sir, my confidence is very low at the time of interview. Can you please tell me some points to improve my confidence?
I think she is telling this thing very confidently.
Absolutely, there you are.
You have confidence.
Absolutely.
So why do you underestimate yourself?
Absolutely.
Another important thing I would like to tell that many candidates, those who go to attend an interview, unnecessarily they underestimate themselves.
True.
Their body language changes. You have a wonderful degree, you have wonderful things with you. Why do you want to underestimate yourself?
True.
And that is another important thing that may lose your confidence. You must be confident enough and you must tell yourself that I will get this job.
100%.
And confidence is not a thing that can be injected.
Absolutely.
So you have to have that, and I think you are very confident because the way you wrote this confidently.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Shagira, it reminds me of what my friend would say. He would say something like this. He would say that it is easy enough to be pleasant when life flows along like a song, but the worthwhile is the one who will smile even when the situation goes dead wrong.
Excellent.
Now that's exactly the approach. So for example, if you say you're not confident during a tough time, so that is exactly the time, Shagira, where you need to show what is Shagira really made of. What can Shagira think here is, I do not understand what exactly is the reason for you to feel low during the interview part. Considering what a lot of candidates normally say is maybe the result of the outcome part of the interview that makes them feel a little low.
Absolutely.
I would just suggest that, Shagira, do not think about the outcome of the interview. Do not think much about the people that are there, what the interviewer is thinking. Just think about, why should you be getting this job? Why are you worthy enough to be there? If you feel your language is something that pulls you back or makes you a little low in confidence, then start strengthening that. If you feel your knowledge and skills are somewhere falling short, then strengthen that first. So you need to take care of all these things. And the last part to make you more confident is also to have acceptance. There are always people who know certain things, who don't know certain things, who are good at certain things, who are not good at certain things. But are we ready to accept? I told you, if you just watch the video again, you will realize, if you ask me, technologically, I'm not very sound and I'm very open about it. But at the same time, I would not like to remain in the same situation forever.
True.
So I'm doing my best to upgrade myself, to get acquainted to a lot of technological advancements. So now here, I'm citing something called acceptance. Accept it, it's okay. The moment you accept, you're being confident. The moment you try to hide that part, you're feeling low. You become low in confidence.
Yes, believe in yourself, believe in your abilities, and do not underestimate yourself. This is what we can say. And
Absolutely.
Wish you all the best.
Absolutely. Wish you all the best. So a final word before we wrap up for today.
Please.
So first of all, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. You all have been extremely supportive. Your questions were fantastic. And I hope we also were supportive enough to answer your questions well. Going forward, for more interesting videos, learning and new course information, please feel free to visit our website, millionlights.org. We are glad to inform you that we are also available on Facebook as Millionlights, on Twitter by the name million_lights1, and on Instagram as Millionlights1. To watch more such live sessions, you may subscribe to our YouTube channel, Millionlights ORG. You can watch our programs live on our newly launched mobile app, that is Millionlights TV. And to do this, you just need to go to the Play Store and download it. And we are happy to tell you that we are also available on other apps, that is GeoTV, GeoChat, and Yup TV. So do watch us over there. Finally, in case you have any queries, any questions or feedbacks to share, please feel free to write to us at support@millionlights.org, or you may contact us at 9890-122-592. So that's a number. I'll just repeat the number for you. It is 9890-122-592. So once again, thank you very much, all you wonderful people out there.
Yes.
Keep watching us, and we'll be happy to come with more information and more learning for you.
Yes. Wish you all the best.
Yeah, wish you all the best. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.